Namaste दोस्तों और स्वागत है. Welcome. I am your Python Master G. Today, we're diving into something that every single developer uses every day, I promise you. By the end of this explainer, Python is going to feel so incredibly easy, whether you're prepping for those big tech interviews or just building your own real-world projects. So let's get started.
I always tell my students this one thing. अगर आप ये टॉपिक मास्टर कर लिया, तो इंटरव्यूज में कोई रोक नहीं सकता. Literally, no one can stop you. Today, we are building a rock-solid foundation of Python's absolute most important pillars.
Before we write a single line of code, take a look at our workspace. This is the Jupyter Notebook. It's a fantastic environment heavily used in data science and web development. It basically lets us write code, see the output instantly, and build our skills step by step at our own comfortable pace.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering Welcome to Python World, variables and data types, lists, classes, libraries like pandas and NumPy, and finally, some practice. Now, don't worry if some of these words sound a bit complex right now. I'm going to break down every single topic with simple, everyday analogies so you never forget them.
Chalo, let's dive right into our very first core concept, storing data. Think of a variable as a simple container inside your computer's memory. We use it to store data, like a student's name, their marks, or maybe the price of an item. Now, notice the phrase dynamically typed here. That is super important. In Python, one variable can hold an integer right now, and later on you can toss a text string into that exact same container. Python is smart enough to handle the whole shebang automatically. But dhyan se suniye, we must be very careful with types. Let's compare them. We have integers and floats. These are your math values, like the number 5 or 5.0. On the flip side, we have strings. A string is strictly text, like the character 5 wrapped up in quotes. Please remember, the actual number 5 and the string 5 are completely different beasts in Python. Mixing them up, that's a trap 90% of beginners fall into, and it causes huge type mismatch errors. Bahad Bardia, you've got the basics down. Now let's look at lists, which let us store multiple items all together.
Let's read this line of code together. We say student_marks equals, and then we open up some square brackets. The absolute second you hear or see square brackets, your brain should scream, list. A list is exactly like a traditional daba, a tiffin box with different compartments. You put 85 in one compartment, 92 in the next. And just like a real tiffin box, you can add new food items or take them out whenever you want.
And because our list is exactly like a tiffin box, we have special tools to manage it. We call these methods. The .append method, that adds a single item to the very end of your list. The .remove method takes a specific item out, and .reverses just flips the entire order upside down. These simple commands give you absolute control over your data. Samjhe? Now, I want to introduce you to the list's very strict cousin, the tuple. While a list is mutable, meaning you can change it around freely, a tuple is completely immutable. You create it with round parentheses, and once it's made, it is locked tight. Think of a tuple like your Aadhaar card. Once the government prints it, it's locked. You can't just easily go in and change the details. Use a tuple whenever you want to make absolutely sure your data stays exactly the same throughout your entire program. We are making amazing progress. Let's move on to Object-Oriented Programming, or OOP. I know it sounds super intimidating, but I promise it's actually incredibly logical. So, the crucial point here is understanding these 4 terms. A class is literally just a template, like an architect's blueprint for a house. An object is the actual physical house built from that blueprint. Then we have __init. That is the constructor method. Think of it as the construction crew that sets up your house. And self? That's just Python's way of pointing to the specific house being built right now, so it doesn't get confused with all the other houses on the street. Let's look at this code line by line, nice and slow. We say class point to define our blueprint, then we use def__init self xy to set up our construction rules. Self.x equals x basically means, hey, take the value passed in and attach it to this specific object. So when we write .1 equals 10 and 5 at the very bottom, Python goes right into the computer's memory, builds the object using our blueprint, and assigns it the coordinates 10 and 5. Super simple, right? And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of inheritance. Inheritance is a literal superpower in Python because it entirely removes code duplication. Look at this. We have a base class called mammal that knows how to walk. Then we create a dog class and we put mammal in parentheses. What does this do? The dog automatically inherits the ability to walk from its parent. We only have to teach the dog how to bark.
It keeps our code beautifully clean and organized. Excellent. Now let's talk about the final major piece of the puzzle, libraries. Pure Python is fantastic, but its true power comes from these external power-ups. These are the exact tools used heavily by professionals out in the industry. Notice how the core scientific data libraries pair up with visualization tools like Matplotlib. In a real-world project, it's a team effort. We first use our core libraries to clean and structure our messy data, and then we pass that nice structured data over to Matplotlib to draw out beautiful charts and graphs. Let's zoom in on one specific library called NumPy. NumPy gives us high-performance, multi-dimensional arrays. Now you might be wondering, Master G, why do we need these if we already have our Python lists? Great question. It's all about speed. When calculating massive amounts of data, traditional Python for loops are painfully slow. NumPy handles these calculations instantly behind the scenes, completely bypassing those slow loops. Then we have pandas. If you want to be a data scientist, pandas is going to be your absolute best friend. A pandas data frame is essentially a 2D labeled table. Just imagine a beautifully organized Excel sheet or a SQL table sitting right inside your Python code. Functions like read CSV let you load up thousands of rows in a split second, and drop NA effortlessly cleans up any missing data. It's pure magic. All right, students, we've covered some incredible ground today. But hey, a masterclass isn't complete without a little test. Let's see what you've actually absorbed. Get ready. Here is your first challenge. What is the output of this list operation? My list equals my list times 2. I want you to actually pause the explainer right now. Use your brain and think about the answer. Did you guess it? The output is a new list containing my list, my list. Bahad badhiya if you got that right. In Python, using the mathematical multiplication operator on a list doesn't magically do math to the words. Instead, it literally repeats the elements inside the list. Now for a classic interview trick question. This is a trap so many beginners fall into. Why does a single element tuple absolutely need a comma, like 1 comma, instead of just 1? Think back to our Aadhaar card analogy for a second. Here is the secret. Python sees 1 without a comma and just assumes you're putting an integer inside regular math parentheses for order of operations. It just evaluates it as the plain integer 1. Adding that comma, 1 comma, is a very special signal. It screams to Python, hey, this is a locked sequence and immutable tuple. Never, ever forget this syntax quirk in your interviews. We've traveled all the way from the simplest variables and Tiffin box lists to object-oriented blueprints and high-powered data science libraries. The blueprint is now yours. What will you build next? Whether it's a web app, a cool game, or an AI model, you now have the foundation. Keep coding, keep practicing. Next video may hum seeking operators and conditional statements. Until next time, Master G signing off. Happy learning.